So Allah is very well known for his work on verification of interface systems, starting with FEMS and later well-structured transition systems. And his work has won quite a bit of awards. They won the CAV award in 2007.
Yes, 6 months ago.
Okay, 2017. Okay, for the work that was done.
The 20 years before.
20 years before, so in the late 90s. And they also won the most cited paper, I think, in theoretical computer science, where this was published. So that's also given for that year, I guess. So, welcome to Alan.
Thank you for this nice presentation, Deepak. So I don't know how many time I will take for the slides, but you will make part of the work because you are allowed to ask questions, more precisely to ask for asking questions. So say that, and if possible, and in general it is possible, I will give you the opportunity to ask questions. Don't think that there are stupid questions. When you ask a question, you give a good opportunity for the other, for your neighbor to understand something, because they are too shy, they don't want to ask. So be courageous. Ask stupid questions. It doesn't exist. Okay, so I will begin this series of 2 talks by something like a survey on a well-structured transition system to give you the state, what is a well-structured transition system, and the main results which are known, some idea of proofs. I can give you some paper to read if you want, I can discuss after. So, the motivation of well-structured transition system is mainly to be able to verify infinite state model. It's not for finite model. So when you have a stack automata, when you have a counter system, a pointer, a program which manipulates pointer, potentially the states can be infinite. The number of states can be infinite. So some examples are here. You can make or use C program with integers and or counter machine if you want, and you can use some, for example, reset operation to empty in one step totally the counter. You can use affine function. You can. There are many extensions of this model, and this model is a priori infinite, and it is well known that this kind of model is Turing powerful. So we cannot do a lot of things a priori, but in many cases, in fact, it is possible to verify partially the model. Another class of model is model which use FIFO channels. So FIFO channel like counter, FIFO channel are more general than counter. So what I said about counter machine is true for FIFO system. They have the Turing power, but interesting paradox is when you consider lossy FIFO, it means imperfect FIFO channel which can lose message at any time. You can think that it is more complicated because it's not perfect. In fact, it is the converse. We can verify partially lossy FIFO system. And we can add, as for counter, time, data, priority. Okay, the model becomes more and more complicated, so more easy for modeling, more difficult for analyze. But you know the game. Another class of model are the broadcast protocol, which are, for example, used for modeling cache coherence protocol. You want to maintain the coherence between different kinds of memory. You have protocol which makes that. And you can modelize broadcast protocol, which primitive are sending a message to all other process by a counter system, in fact. By a counter system with the transfer primitive. So there are some connection between this model, And you have other model, so I say context-free grammar, rewriting, pointer I say, you can, the state can be the state of the memory, so it means the graph. So a state is not necessarily a counter, the value of a counter. A state is not necessarily the word which is in a FIFO channel. A state can be the state of the memory, it means the graph or a tree. It can be different objects. And we would like something unified to avoid to, for every system, every model, discover a new algorithm. And in fact, not a new algorithm, the same. So we must have, or it will be good to have an abstract model in which we have abstract algorithm, and then if we have a particular model, we verify that it is well structured. If it is, we have all the machinery which is ready. We are not, it's not necessary to discover the algorithm. And you see it's other model like a fragment of the P-calculus, rewriting, so you have tree inside. Some fragments are also infinite system which can be analyzed. So I begin with a very simple example. I decide before to speak that you know nothing, not on everything, but nothing about infinite state system. So I will show you Petrinet. Probably some of you knows Petrinet, but in this case, it's not a problem to listen something that you know. It's always comfortable to listen and to say, yes, I understand. So, this is a Petrinet. It means these are counter and these are transition. The firing rule is this transition is fireable if the place which is in input, it can be more than one place. But here, yes, there is only one place. This place must contain at least one token. If it is the case, this transition takes the token here and put one token in the output place. Here there is only one output place, so we will have this. And it continues. Sorry?
What is the purpose of the square? Is just like a channel? Or?
So I don't.
Square. What is the square?
The square symbol. Let me see.
Circle and square. The bases and transitions.
The square. Ah, this. This is the transition. This is a place. This is a transition. I answer your question? Ah, yes, this is the transition. So transition is action, if you want, and place is state or counter. I can continue. So I file this transition in taking the token and putting the token here. This is exactly the state I have.
So here the other place is not your token.
The other place.
The last place.
Yes, why is the last place?
Yeah, now when this
Yes, it's a mistake. This place must have a token, exactly. Sure.
it should also have had a token.
It should also,
Have had a token.
yes, sure.
Is it like a choice that either this or that or both?
A choice between what? Both. This transition, so we are here. This transition is variable. This one is not because it is empty. And okay, so this is variable. I will take this token and I will put one token here and I will put one token here. Sorry. So now, suppose this is my initial state. Ah. Thank you. So what I call post is the set of successor of this state. So you see, the unique successor of this state is this one, because, voilà. Okay? You follow? Now there are some extensions of Petrinet. One extension is called Omega Petrinet. It has been defined and studied recently 5 years ago, and it works as follows. This transition, you see the arc between this transition and this place is labeled by omega. The semantics of omega, in this case, is this transition non-deterministically put one integer of token, a number of token, in this place. But we don't know how many. It can be 1, 2, 3, you know, it can be any. So in particular, this transition will generate an infinitely branching transition system. It means I have an infinite number of choice. Yes?
So only if it gets a token will only if it gets a token, will it make it into multiple tokens, or it can just produce tokens with arbitrarily?
Repeat, please.
Can it, if there is no token?
If there is no token, where?
In the first circle.
In the first circle, I cannot do anything.
Then nothing happens.
Nothing. When I say nothing, yes, nothing. So you will tell me that here I miss also one token here. Yes,
If
it's
there
true.
is no token.
Yes. No, yes. This is called the precondition, and it is strictly necessary. Except in the extension of omega, because when this transition is labeled omega, I think that, or maybe not. Yes. Always, I need a token here. Okay, the second mistake. I hope it is finished. So you can put as many tokens you want, and it was just for saying you models that I will consider are not finitely branching. So now the definition, because well-structured transition system contain as a subword transition system. So probably you know what is a transition system. Who know what is a transition system? I will see if people answer more in India than in France. Yes, it's more than in France. And I will ask now another difficult question. Who don't know? I can compute the complementary, but it's too funny. I would like to know who don't know. But the complementary was not empty, so I let you think. So a transition system is a triple, a set of states, and a relation between the states. This is the definition of a transition system. So you see that the expression well-structured requires two hypotheses that I will develop now. The monotone hypothesis and the well-quasi-ordering hypothesis. In the example of Petrinet you have here, you see that the set of states is the set of integer power 3. Okay? Vectors with 3 components. You see that the relation which allow you to go from one state to another is described by the transition. I will say that this transition takes one from the first component and add one to the second component. It can be described by a vector and then by monotony. It means if I put 3 tokens here, I can say the same thing, but the resulting marking is I will just add 2. Here, if I have 1, I can compute the result. Now, if I put 3 tokens, the result will be the result with 1 plus 2 in the first component. Monotony, what does it mean? It means that if I have a configuration or a state, 3 which is larger than 1, 0 which is larger or equal to 0, and the same here. So this configuration, 3, 0, 0, is larger than 1, 0, 0, monotony means, intuitively, that everything I can do from a small configuration, I can do from the large. Maybe I can do more things from the large configuration, but the minimum requirement is what I can do from the small, I can do from the large. You are specialist on question. Yes, but speak with a strong voice, please.
Sure. So in the second transition system, there are 3 tokens in the first state.
Yes.
So all of the tokens move together or?
No. It depends. I present the simplest version of Petrinet. You see, I didn't label the arc. So implicitly, it means that I take 1 token. The easy extension of Petrinet is I label with 4 this arc. It means that I need 4 tokens in input. If I label by 4, I cannot file because there is only 3. If I label by 2, I can take 2 at the same time. It is easy to see that this extension of Petrinet can be simulated by the simplest one. I don't add real power, real expression power by this. Okay? So, monotony means what I can do from a larger is possible from a... What can I do from a smaller is possible from a larger. And moreover, when I file the transition, the same here, the result is still larger. This is, so in Petrinet, there is a strong monotony because you see I can do exactly the same transition and in 1 step. If from a small state I can make 1 step transition, with the larger state I can make exactly the same transition. The most general monotony definition is weaker. It is something like that. From a state X with 1 step which go to Y, and if X prime is larger than X, this is the hypothesis, then there exists a finite path may be empty, which leads to Y prime, which is larger than Y. For Petrinet, the star here is not a star, it is exactly a 1 step like here. So the simulation is 1 step by 1 step, and it is also exactly the same transition. You can imagine different transition systems, for example, lossy channel system, in which it's not exactly the same. So this is the most general definition of monotony you can find. So after this speech, if you have some model that you want to analyze, you will have 2 things to verify before to apply the technology. You will look for a natural ordering, and you will verify that your system is monotone, first. And second, you will verify that your ordering has a good properties that I will develop after. It is usual in seminars that one bring you coffee.
Yeah.
It's a good, I will try to import this idea in my lab. So there are different kinds of monotony. The transitive monotony is like the monotony, except that the path cannot be empty. It means this property will be important when we want to simulate more precisely. Suppose here, this is the empty path. I will not be, so suppose I have an empty path, and I detect, suppose on a real path, I go from X to X prime, which is larger, in 1 step, or in a finite number of steps. If I have not the transitive monotony, I will not be able to deduce that from X prime, I have also a path of the same length, or a non-empty length, than from X to X prime. If the path can be empty, I cannot say there is an infinite path. If I observe a reachable path from X to X prime, and X prime is larger than X, then if I have the transitive monotony, I can say then I can continue from x prime to x second with a non-empty path, and so on. So I have an infinite path. This is the main argument for deciding termination. If I have not the transitive monotony, but if I have only the monotony, recently I proved, but it is just a remark, that in fact termination is undecidable. So I will show you after some a precise survey which show you exactly which hypotheses are necessary. So you have the transitive monotony, and you have the strong monotony, and Petrinet enjoys the strong monotony. It is one step. And in fact, Petrinet are more than stronger. They are very strong, because if it is here the transition T3, here it is also the transition T3. In fact, Petrinet are a very rich model, and when I was thinking about this kind of thing 30 years ago, I was trying to abstract Petrinet with all its rich property, integers, and to think in an abstract world where I speak about states, I don't know what they are. And it is difficult, because when your mind is on the concrete, to go to the abstract, it is a difficulty. So the second property you need to be included in the framework of well-structured system and justify the word well. Structured has no special justification. Well-structured, so this is a very nice property of ordering. So you must know, because it can be useful on other applications than well-structured system also. In formal language theory, for example, you can use well quasi-ordering. For termination in system rewriting, you can use also well quasi-ordering. So what is it? There are many definitions. I will give you one definition, which is the following. From any infinite sequence of states, there exists So you can prepare an exercise. Yes, it works. So, from any infinite sequence of states, you are able to find two indexes satisfying this relation, such that the first terms on the left is smaller or equal to the second terms, to the second states. Okay? There are 5, 6, probably 7 and 8 equivalent characterization of this well quasi-ordering, and it can be a source of exercise for your student. I don't know.
I do understand.
Yes. For all sequence, infinite sequence, you will be able to find two indexes such that xi is smaller than xg. 1 minute, 1 second. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes?
How is it different from its monotonically increasing sequence?
How?
How is it different from a monotonically increasing sequence?
There is no relation. So this is a kind of answer, but maybe not a little frustrated. Monotony is a property of the system for this ordering. And well quasi-ordering is a property of the set X. You have not, there is no relation. The step relation here doesn't appear here. I don't know. Okay, let us find some well quasi-ordered set. It means I would like a set and its ordering, which is a well quasi-ordering. You understand my question? Concrete set. No? Give me a set. The first set which comes to your mind. Good, we have a set. Now give me an ordering. You ask question, me too.
Greater than. Greater than.
Greater or, okay. This set with this ordering, is it a well quasi-ordering? Yes, good, you have fine. Now, give me an easy construction on set. If I give you two sets, what can you do with? Union, okay. Is the union, so for the integer, it will be union, it will be the same. So another operator than the union, not the intersection. Product, you win. So now, n square with the ordering component by component. Is it a well quasi-ordering?
What is the, I don't understand this set.
N square. N product n. The set of couple of integers.
Okay. And the comparison is same.
Yes.
Point-wise less than.
Yes, exactly. Component by component. Is it, this is a partial ordering, okay? Is it a well quasi-ordering?
Yes.
How do you prove this?
Yes, because there are two indices I and j somewhere in that. Say 1 1 is less than 2 2. So 1 1 exists, the element 1 1 exists before the element 2 2. So the index of 1 1 is less than that of j in terms of the ordering in which we have written it. So it is well quasi-ordered.
I'm not sure that I understand exactly what you say. Yes, I'm not sure. This is my diplomatic answer. I don't know who is the president, who is student, who is professor, so I will be very polite with every people. So, if you take we will make the proof. I give you an infinite sequence of couple, pair, couple, ça va, couple?
Yeah,
Couple, pair. An infinite sequence of pair of integers, positive integers. Okay? Now I want to prove that it is a well quasi-ordering. So you were saying, how do you do?
I said that there could be, we could consider two elements like 1 1 and 2 2.
1 1, ah,
The pair 1
okay.
It's a given sequence.
No, yes, but listen. Unfortunately, the two elements you give me are not in my infinite sequence.
Why not?
I'll decide.
Oh, so we get to decide. So we get to decide the elements.
Sorry?
We get to choose the elements, is
Every
it?
sequence has to satisfy.
Okay.
You cannot know what are the elements. Yes.
Every sequence has to satisfy them.
So, how to do? You first extract an infinite increasing sequence on the first component. It is possible because we have admit that the set of integers is well quasi-ordering. So now we apply this first result on the first component. We extract an infinite increasing sequence on the first, okay? And so we have in fact an infinite sequence of pair because I extract, for example, the first, sorry?
It's a even number.
E1?
Yeah, the even integers.
Ah, you want to know exactly what is the sequence. Be abstract. You will never know what is the sequence. It exists, you don't know. You can write X, E1, X, E2, X, E3, and you don't know what they are. But they are. So you have X, E1 and Y, E1. You have a pair. You know that the first one is an increasing sequence. Good. But now you apply the same thing on the second component. You extract an infinite sequence increasing on the Y. So And you keep exactly the same indice for the x. So the result is you obtain an infinite increasing sequence, which is increasing on the two components. No.
Increasing or decreasing?
No decreasing. It means increasing. Increasing.
Non-decreasing.
Yes, no decreasing. It depends if you are American or English. Maybe you are more English.
So the sequence of states has to be infinite, right?
The sequence is infinite by hypothesis.
Okay. Then it's fine. Otherwise, then it is well quasi
The
ordered.
property is only for infinite sequence.
Okay.
Every infinite sequence has to satisfy.
No. By default, if you have a finite sequence, this is always satisfied because there is no infinite sequence. This is the interest of mathematics. We can say strange things which are true but not exist. You don't understand?
I do.
You are courageous.
I know.
So,
What was the proof again? Maybe I missed that.
okay.
If you want to use the board,
Yes, I would like.
this one.
Yes, and there is something. Thank you. So, my hypothesis is I take an infinite sequence of integers. Okay? Do you read? Okay. So now, first, I find an infinite subsequence such that because I apply on the first component the fact that I have proved that I have admit this is a WQ. The set of integers with the ordering is a WQ. If you want, we can prove this because we have not proved it. It is the Ramsey or yes, if you have a finite, so let us prove. You take an infinite set of integer, okay? I will prove this. No, not allowed. I told at the beginning you will be able to try to ask a question. I don't say I will allow you immediately because I have bad students who discuss during the course. So I can make the proof. I take an infinite sequence of integer. Okay? So for this integer, this integer is x1. What I say is because I have an infinite sequence, if I take n bigger than x1, it is an integer. Then, so not maybe this argument, because they can be all equal, you know, but look, x2, it is larger than x1, I stop. It is equal to x1, I stop. It is strictly smaller than x1, I continue. Okay, this is the only case I will continue. So after n, which is strictly larger than x1, I'm sure to find xn, which is larger, and this is sufficient, than x1. Or I stop before because I found, for example, x2 equal x3. So this is a relation I allow also. Deepak, you seems I give you all an algorithm. I give you here the algorithm. You can make a mathematical proof with some Ramsey argument or something like that. But step play with x1, I say that after at least after n element, or I found two elements comparable before, or xn is larger than x1. If xn is smaller than x1, it means that it is also equal to another element which is between x1 and xn. No?
So then you move to that other element?
No, I stop. I begin again. I begin with x1. I consider x2. If x2 is...
So why can't I have 10? I can have x1 equal to 10 and then everything else equal to 9 in the sequence.
Okay, I continue. It is not good because 9 is not larger than 10.
Let's say everything is 9.
Okay, I stop. If x3 is 9, they are equal. I stop. So to not to stop, it means that all integers are different and decreasing sequence. It means that in fact I am building a decreasing sequence. And you know that a decreasing sequence which begins at 10 has not a length more than 10. So this is, you begin with x1 and or you find a strictly decreasing sequence and then its length is bounded by 10, or you find two elements which were equal or comparable. You stop. It means that after, in any case, after 10, you stop. After 10 elements.
So your increasing sequence may not start with x1, it might start with some other.
Sure, I take this as an example. Sure, but in the case of integer, just integer, it is very easy because I take the first element and I can tell you that it's not necessary to look more than the 10 first element. This is a particular case. I will not use this reasoning in for n2, for example.
I have to find some xi and some xj.
Yes.
Which are less than everything.
Yes.
But it may not be x1. x1 may not be xi.
Exactly. Yes, maybe x1 is not, but I will find x2 equal x3 equal 5. And I will say, okay, I can stop. Because what I want is to find an element smaller than an element which is at his right.
Okay, and then the next one?
The next one.
You want an infinite sequence of.
So, first I apply this reasoning on the first component, and then I obtain an infinite subsequence which satisfies this relation.
Then you look at the second component.
I don't look the second component immediately. I just look at the first. I apply this result on the first, and I obtain this. Now I have this infinite subsequence, and on this infinite subsequence now, I apply, so I will extract another infinite subsequence of the infinite subsequence, which satisfies something like that. Maybe the plus is okay. Okay. Probably you trust me that I can extend to any finite product. Probably you have an opinion if I go to the infinite. What is your opinion?
Not good.
Yes. Probably if I add a finite subset to n, you will say that you will say what? You will say that. A finite subset of n. A finite subset of n.
That's equal to n itself. Yeah, that's equal to n.
No, finite. Ah, yes, yes. No, 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 no. Yes. Sorry. A finite subset of letter. An alphabet, in fact. An alphabet.
The ordering is not. We need to know the order.
Ah, yes, 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 yes. Okay. This is F, a finite set, with the same ordering, but reals which are not integers. What do you think about the well ordering? The intuition is, if I have a finite set, and because it cannot be a problem, because when I extract infinite sequence, maybe I will stabilize on the finite set. Okay, equality. In fact, think that here the ordering is this one, and on the finite set, take the equality. And this is a characterization. Equality is well quasi-ordering on a set, if and only if the set is finite. Because equality is an ordering. So if the equality is an ordering, it means that they are comparable for equality. It means that the set is finite. And conversely, if the set is finite, it is a well quasi-ordering. So this is an easy, maybe a little strange characterization of finite set. The set is finite for equality. So, can I continue? So, these two properties. So now I present you immediately one of the best results which allow to have algorithm. So the magical theorem of well quasi-ordering is the following. A set and an ordering is a well quasi-ordering if and only if every upward closed set U as upward, this is the symbol for upward, as a finite basis. In this case, it means that U is the finite union of the upward closure of element of U. Some accidents sometimes here, because so what is an upward closed set? A draw is better, a figure is better sometimes than 1,000 of words. So if I want to draw, I am in the n square or r square, what you want. Do you agree that this set is upward closed? And okay. Are there other type of sets which are upward closed in half of in a quarter of the plane? I consider this. It seems to be the prototype of upward closed set. Now,
The vertical line can't I tilt it?
sorry,
The vertical line can't I tilt it to the left? Yeah. Can't I increase the angle?
this side.
Can't I make it can't I make the angle more than 90 degrees?
80 degrees.
More than 90. Currently it's 90.
Repeat, please.
Can I increase the angle to more than 90 degrees?
Okay, something like that. Let us try. So it must include upward closed. So you stop like that, for example? No? But you have to determine where is your set. If I don't...
It's a ray, it just continues.
It continues.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay. Good. It seems to be upward closed because every time I take a point, all points are inside. Yes? So, now, if I am in the plan of integer, I can say that, in fact, your upward closed set, Ragavan, is the finite union of these 6 points. This set is, so I will write V1, so this is the set V1. This is the point V1, and the upward closure V1 is this set. So your upward closed set is exactly the union of the 6 VI. And in fact, it is a theorem in the set of vectors of integers. Any upward closed set in n power k is a finite union of the upward closure of particular vectors. It is not a property, in fact, of the integers. It is a very general property. Any well quasi-ordering. So, maybe I have to tell you what is I give you another example than integers, which are well quasi-ordering, because integer, okay, but so before to continue, I will look about words and the subword ordering. I will write, no, I will don't write like that. I will write as an ordering. I will. So now, what is the subword ordering? A, B are letter. For example, sigma is AB, ABC. So I say that ABC is a subword of CC, B, A, C, B, A, C. Why? Because the first A I can find here, for example, and the second B I can find after this A here. I can also say I can take this B, I can take this A, this B. I cannot take this B for beginning because my word begins by A. This is the subword ordering. I don't know if you use it. Very interesting ordering. And the Higman lemma I think it is. It says that sigma star, the set of finite words, with the subword ordering is a WQ. It's not immediate, neither trivial, because take an infinite sequence of words, okay. It's not clear how you will extract a subsequence or two elements. So there is a reasoning by the absurd. You suppose that the statement of the Higman is false, and you look about the minimal sequence which does not satisfy the definition of the WQ. It means the minimal sequence in which you will not be able to find xi smaller than xg. You said I have said minimal sequence, and you said nothing because you are very polite. But what is a minimal sequence? Knowing that each sequence is infinite. So I will measure a sequence by the length of the, I will use something like the lexicographic ordering. I will consider all the sequence which doesn't satisfy the good property. And among all these sequence, I will consider the sequence whose first word is shorter. The length of the first word is shorter. I will continue in looking at a subset of this set of sequence in asking that the length of the second word is shorter also. So this construction gives me one minimal bad sequence. But because finite words are on a finite alphabet, I am sure that a same letter, say E, is the first letter of an infinite subsequence. You follow me or not?
Not the last one.
I have a sequence of words which is bad, which means that it doesn't satisfy the good property. I cannot find another sequence with a double one shorter or a double two shorter. All these words are short, are the more short. Now I know that there exists a letter E I can find an infinite subsequence of words which begins all by the same letter because they are words. So I have a finite set of letters. So suppose this. And now the idea, I will remove the letter A. So I built a shorter sequence, and I will show that this shorter sequence is still bad. But it is not possible because I took the minimal bad sequence. And then I construct a shorter bad sequence. Impossible, contradiction, hypothesis false, then legma. So it's a very nice, you must be precise to make the proof, because I give you more than the intuition, but if you have good exercise for your student, still a good exercise. Okay. So you see that the proof for n square or n puissant n power p is not very difficult for showing that it is a WQO. The proof for the word is not immediate. And in fact, we can show that the multiset, the finite multiset on the integers, and we can power k, and we can look about the word, which alphabet are vectors, which element are multiset of integer, so a rather complex set. And in fact, we can show that for the ordering, multiset ordering, usual ordering, word ordering, it means subword ordering, we can show that it is a WQ. Because in fact, we can build an algebra. So given some WQ, if we make finite product, it is still a WQ. If we take the multiset on the WQ, it is still a WQ. If we make the finite product, it is. And if we look word on a structure which is WQ, because the Higman ordering is not only this, it is if X is a WQ, then X star, this is the more general Higman lemma. This is Higman on words. In fact, you can make Higman on WQ. Suppose this is a WQ, you don't know it. Yes, you know, but it is not neither integer, neither word, a WQ. Then you can consider the words on this set. Use the embedding ordering, almost the subword you adapt because, and you will prove this. The proof of this is the same that I say. You replace word by element of X without problem. The same reasoning. So just to show you that it's not immediately, to show you that there are other well quasi-ordering than integer. Okay? No, not okay? I'm afraid that my coffee will be cold. But anyway, I will not sleep. So this is the magical theorem. Why it is magical? Because I will show you an algorithm which is mainly based on the fact that every upward closed set is finitely representable. So I will manage the basis of upward closed set, and this is the main mathematical argument which allows to make algorithm. So another characterization of well quasi-ordering, I will use probably next talk tomorrow, but is that WQ is an ordering if an ordering is a WQ if and only if it is well-founded, no strictly decreasing sequence, and no infinite antichain. Antichain, I asked the question to you before you asked me. I was a joke. An antichain is a set in which every pair of elements is not comparable. Say the length of the maximal chain in integers. You want I repeat?
Yes.
Okay, I accept. Give the length of the maximal antichain in the set of integers. I say chain or antichain? Antichain, yes, antichain. When you are not certain of you must speak more strong because you know some people are not sure. So first you are not sure, and then you make me nervous because I don't listen to you.
So what is the maximum anti-chain in?
Anti-chain in integers decreasing. No, unordered. So unordered. Pairwise unordered.
One.
Good. Take two. Take two integers. Take two integers. Say 1 and 2. Are they comparable? Come on, no. Yes.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Oof. Take another pair of integers. I allow you to give precise number. Profit of this concrete.
Any pair.
No. Don't be abstract, please.
Any pair.
No, too abstract. Give me two numbers.
Okay. 7 and 8.
Okay, they are comparable or not? Yes. So he win. 1. So this property will be also very useful. So the paper, the famous paper, as Deepak said, that I wrote with one of my colleagues who is in my lab since 20 years, Philippe Schnobelen. I can show you now that Turing machine, Minsky machine, all your models are well structured. So you will say, oh, very interesting. So we can say we can do nothing with well structured system because everything is well structured. You know, if anything is well structured is not a good notion. Don't laugh. I'm very serious. So now I give you the ordering. Take a Turing machine and associate. I will construct an ordering between words. A Turing machine. What is a state in a configuration in Turing machine? A control state and a word. I will take as an ordering equality for control state, and because it is a finite set, it is a well ordering, and I will use this ordering on words. Okay? And the product of two well ordering is a well ordering. You follow me?
What is the ordering of the word?
I don't explain it. I will explain. So now the ordering of the word is, first I associate to a word the longest computation to this, which is possible from this word. I put W on the tape of the machine. Maybe I will take, yes. Okay, so W, I am in the state, control state Q, and I define the maximal computation I can do from W. Maybe the Turing machine doesn't stop. In this case, it is omega. Maybe the Turing machine stop. In this case, this is its maximal computation. Maybe the Turing machine is non-deterministic. You take the maximal of all the possible computation. It is totally defined. It means it is an integer or omega. Okay? Now, I use this function to define the ordering, but just to say this word is smaller than the other if the maximal computation from the first is smaller than the length of the computation is smaller. Okay? Now I say that this ordering, it is an ordering, it is a well-quasi-ordering. Yes, because in fact it is only the ordering on n omega, because I compare this. So take an infinite sequence of word W, compute their TW, so you have an infinite sequence of integer, maybe omega. You know, we have proved with difficulty that it is a well-quasi-ordering. So now you can extract two words, which first word is smaller than the second. It is a WQ. So we can prove that for this ordering, Turing machine is monotone. 4 cases, 5 lines, 10 minutes of thinking. I have not 10 minutes now, so you will do for tomorrow. No, people who didn't ask any question will do this exercise for tomorrow. And it is necessary to be here tomorrow. You cannot avoid. I have your name and your photo, almost. So I conclude that Turing machine are well-structured system, and I can solve, in fact, the halting problem. Finally, Turing machine are decidable. And I lose my position. So, okay. I agree with you. There is a problem, and the problem is not very difficult. This ordering, in fact, it is indexed by T because it is the termination ordering. So, I have said that Turing machines are well structured. It is true. But this example is to tell you, if I don't add effective hypothesis on the ordering, I cannot have decidable result. So this example is to tell, be careful, we have to prove that our ordering is decidable. It means given two states, we are able to say this is smaller than this one. This ordering, the decidability of this ordering remains to decide termination for Turing machine. Okay. So now, you give me till which time? Okay. I can or I must? I must. Ah non, c'est pas good. Don't dream. Or I can stop when you want. So, reachability means decide whether I can go from this state to exactly this state by firing transition is in general undecidable for most of the models which are well structured. Probably you don't know Petrinet with reset, but for this model, for example, we can prove that reachability is not decidable. Okay, believe me. So, the well-structured framework will be interesting for deciding termination, coverability, boundedness. It means, if your problem is a reachability problem, a priori, don't use the well-structured framework. If you can rephrase your problem into a problem of termination, a problem of coverability. It means, is it possible from this state to obtain a larger state than this one? Coverability. If your problem is a problem to decide whether your reachability set is finite or not, you can look about the well-structured framework. So termination, you remember I explained you why, I did not explain, but I say some words about why we need a transitive monotony and not a general monotony. So termination, what is the question? You have a transition system, well-structured, an initial state, and you want to know whether there exists an infinite path from x0. Okay? The question is clear. The answer also. It is decidable for well-structured systems which are finitely branching. It means from a state, you have a finite set of immediate successors. Effective, post-effective means you are able to compute the immediate successor. And transitive monotony. So you see, it's a quite old result. It becomes undecidable if you relax the transitive monotony. I asked myself this question 2 years ago, and the proof is not difficult. So the following results are to show you that these hypotheses are almost the good one. Because if I relax one hypothesis, I reach undecidability. If I relax another hypothesis, I reach also undecidability. You see, finitely branching, I relax undecidable. So it's too complex to explain you everything.
What is post-effective?
I say that, you will answer to his question.
So for every state, you must be able to find out the next.
Exactly, he will.
In the finitely branching.
Yes, yes. If it is infinitely branching, it's difficult to compute. Yes.
And what about the effectiveness of the less than equal? Is that implicit or not?
Yes. Post-effective means effective and post-effective. Post-effective means the ordering is decidable, the computation of the immediate successor is computable. You can decide whether a state is, whether an element is a state. X, the set of states is recursive, the ordering is decidable, and the step relation is computable. Here, more precisely than the step relation, you want to be able to compute exactly the finite set of successors. So it has a meaning, it is finitely branching. It can have also a meaning if it is infinitely branching, because we can have some regular expression for an infinite set of immediate successors.
But you don't assume that.
No. Here, I just assume finitely branching. And okay, the example with the Turing machine I show you shows that I can have all the strict and strong monotony hypotheses finitely branching, but if the ordering is not effective, it's like deciding termination of Turing machine. So the play here show you that this hypothesis is important and this also.
Will you present in the algorithm?
Sorry?
Will you be present in the algorithm?
Sure. Immediately.
So, now one question. So the termination is there some path that terminates from x0 or do all ones?
All. So are all paths finite or does there exist an infinite path? We can make some variation about that, sure. So the algorithm from termination is very simple. So my initial state is x0. It is finitely branching, so I compute, say, the three successors, immediate successor. Okay? So, I built this tree, but because it is possibly infinite, I must stop it if I want an algorithm based on some tree. So this is the criterion for stopping this tree. I have a path, and on this path, I can see x and x prime, and x prime is larger than x. And in this case, I stop. This is my finite reachability tree. When I say finite, we will prove that this tree is finite. So let us prove.
We'll prove that that path is finite.
Sorry?
What will you prove? What is finite?
I will prove that the tree I show you is always finite.
No, it isn't. The successors will, every state has successors.
Yes, but I did, yes. I stop.
Every path stops.
No. When I found this pattern on a path,
On any path.
on any path, if I find a pattern with a state x and the state x prime and x prime is larger than x, I stop. I say the path I construct with this supplementary construction is always finite. And now I prove.
But do you assume a breadth first traversal or something?
No, I assume no. I don't need to assume a way for exploring the tree. So let us prove. Suppose, by contrary, that this tree is not finite. So it is infinite. Okay. It is an infinite tree which is finitely branching. You remember probably the Koenig lemma, which say exactly in any infinite tree finitely branching, there exists an infinite path. Okay. Let's say this is the infinite path. Oh no, I will draw another. It is infinite. Now, yes, by the WQ hypothesis, I know that sometimes, but necessarily, I will find XE and XG. With my construction, I must have been stopped. So this is a contradiction. I suppose it is infinite. I say, but it is finite. So it is finitely finite. And you see that the only thing I use is the WQ hypothesis. I don't use the fact that the system is monotone. Just the WQ. Now, to have a good interpretation of this tree and to allow to decide termination, I may use the monotony. So now, what I will say is...
Sorry, why should you use monotony?
Why?
Why should you use monotony? You don't need it.
But because, yes, if you don't use monotony, what do you say? You compute this tree, okay? It is always finite, and then what do you do? What do you say? You have a finite set. Here you have seen this, okay? Suppose you have this scene. What do you say? If you have no monotony, you are not able to say that the sequence sigma from xi to xg, you can repeat in some way. You are not able to say something because it's not a priori monotone. So if you have the monotony, the general monotony, say this is a finite path, it cannot be empty because so it's the reason I wrote a plus. So if you have the general monotony, you cannot say that you cannot say that you have a non-empty path after, because maybe this state is larger than you cannot say nothing. It's a reason where you have, by chance, the transitive monotony, which ensure you that if you have xg larger than x, then there exists another path, non-empty, and then by you can compute a path, an infinite path, by iterating this process. You construct an infinite path. So, if you have this pattern in the tree, the system doesn't terminate. If you have not this pattern in the tree, it means that you always stop without using the WQO. It means you stop because you stop. You were always deadlocked. But it means that your system terminates. It means that your reachability tree is finite. This means termination. So if you have this pattern, you don't terminate. If you have not this pattern, you terminate. And if you need the converse, it is also the same. So this proves that termination is decidable.
You look for x prime which dominates some x.
Yes. Yes.
And if you find that, then it is
The statement is exactly this. X
every part will see this.
S doesn't terminate if and only if there is a path in the radius, in the finite reachability. Un peu de discipline. There is a path in the finite reachability tree. I call this tree finite reachability tree because it is always finite. There is a path in the reachability tree such that xi, x0 go to xi, go to xg.
But if every path,
No,
because it's stuck.
no, not every path. If there exists a path,
No, I'm saying the modulus. If every path gets stuck, then you start terminating. Then you
yes, I can say also, the system terminates if for every path, I have not this pattern if you want, or I am deadlocked naturally. Yes, yes. I can also use color if you want. I color this when I have this pattern, I use red color, and when I stop because I'm not able to do this state has no successor. So I use maybe I will use red here, and I will use blue here. Okay, I will say that the system terminates if all leaves are red. And the system doesn't terminate if at least one leaf is blue. So you have seen,
Just one question.
yes?
So if you have that x to x prime path, where x prime dominates x, so now how do you use monotonicity to pump that into an infinite path?
I use monotony as follow. So you see, the transitive monotony say, if x, suppose y is x prime. I go from x with a finite path, but this definition of monotony can be easily extended as x goes to y by a finite path, step by step. Okay, so suppose you have a finite path from x to x prime, and x prime is larger than x. Okay? So you apply, and then you have another finite path from x prime to x second, and x second is larger than x prime.
Then that's okay. So I was just
Yes, yes.
because you write this with one transition. So
Yes, yes. And you see probably that if I would try to make the same reasoning without the transitive monotony, okay, I go from x to x prime by a finite path, x prime is larger than x, okay, and then I go to x a second with a path, a non-empty path. No, I cannot. It's so. I will not have take, I will not, so I show you, I will say in details the termination proof. It is almost the same proof with some little subtleties which allow you, so you see for termination, I really need the hypothesis. So now, if I want to decide whether the set of states is finite or not, I will do the same tree, the finite rationality tree. And I will ask that xi is strictly smaller than xj to build an infinite strictly increasing sequence of states, which gives me an infinite set of states. There are some subtleties in the reasoning. I will not show you now. But in the marvelous paper that I wrote with Philippe, you will find the good proof.
It may not terminate. This may not terminate because I see
if
the same value repeating.
No. If it is I change. If it is equal, I stop.
Okay.
If it is strictly larger, I stop also. In all cases, I stop. Yes. I just distinguish the case that if it is equal, I will not deduce an infinite, strictly increasing sequence. The only case is strictly smaller. So the proof is almost the same, but there are some subtlety. For example, you need some strict monotony. From a strictly larger state, I'm able to find the same thing, and I reach strictly smaller, to have strictly smaller. Okay? And there is also, yes, look, well, partial ordering. So I need a partial ordering and not a quasi-ordering. So these are subtleties. I will say the hypotheses are in general useful for deciding. As an exercise for tomorrow, I don't know what arrives if I have not the partial ordering. I know how to make a proof for well partial ordering. I don't know if it is true or false for well quasi ordering. My proof necessarily use the well partial ordering. It doesn't prove that it is strictly necessary. Okay. The exercise is to decide or to say that it is undecidable. Boundedness, if you have all the hypotheses, but you have not the partial ordering hypothesis, you have only the quasi-ordering hypothesis. It means you have not the antisymmetry. I recall you that a quasi-ordering is a reflexive and transitive ordering, and a partial ordering is a quasi-ordering which is antisymmetric. So I don't know if the partial ordering is, I don't know what we have as result for quasi-ordering, because I cannot make the same proof.
Or the boundedness problem.
Yes.
So the boundedness proof that you gave.
I gave the termination proof. The boundedness, I don't give.
You give some argument for boundedness? So
Yeah.
You give an argument.
For boundedness, I will say S is not bounded if there is a path in which xg is strictly larger than xe. This is the result. But for proving that it is correct, my proof use a well partial ordering and a strict monotony. I don't know. So I prove that finitely branching is not a necessary hypothesis quite recently, in fact, in a funny way, because it is infinite branching. In fact, it is not bounded. Imagine I arrive in one state, which is, you have a system, sometimes it is finitely branching, sometimes it is infinitely branching. Suppose it is finitely branching now, okay, I apply what I did before, and I arrive on a state which is infinitely branching. So it has an infinite number of successors. So I have the infinite reachability, so I can stop. The only thing I must to be able to decide is that in this state, the set of successors is infinite. I must be able to compute or to know if the set of successors is finite or infinite, locally. So it's not difficult. But you see, this is a remark that I did, because sometimes I ask myself some question, oh, in fact, is this true? Like this. So this question I don't know.
You don't know, we are not going to solve it by tomorrow.
Sorry?
You don't know the answer.
I don't know the
We are not going
answer.
to solve it overnight.
No, I don't know the answer.
So most likely by tonight we are not going to solve it. You gave us an exercise.
Yes, but I don't know the solution.
Right? So it's not
Yes. So don't make the exercise. No, it's a read, not, okay, if you want to read exercise, write properly the proof of decidability of boundedness. I give you all the argument, but I did not make the proof. For termination, I consider that I make the proof. For boundedness, I told you it is the same, but be careful with. But the proof is in the paper, the proof is, and there is a subtlety. And we can make a wrong proof without knowing that it is a wrong proof. I can make you, for example, the wrong proof. I finish with a wrong proof. So I will decide for you that the system is not bounded with this criterion. Here it is strictly inferior. So I say that I have, suppose my tree is infinite, but I show you that my tree is finite. So, yes, how make a wrong proof? Let me think. So, so suppose I have this pattern, okay, xe inferior xg, and I will show you that it doesn't terminate. No, I will show you the converse. So I suppose it doesn't terminate, so I have an infinite tree. So because it is finitely branching, there is an infinite path. Okay? There is an infinite path, and because the system is not bounded, I say that on the infinite path, I apply the well ordering, and then I can build a strictly increasing sequence of states. And then, if I can build a strictly increasing sequence of states, at some times I have this, so I will have the pattern. So, if the system is not bounded, then I show you how I will build such pattern with strict. Because there is an infinite path, and on this infinite path, I extract an infinite sequence, and this infinite sequence is strictly increasing because the reachability set is infinite.
Why is it along this path? Why should you get a strictly increasing?
Because it's a WQ, so I extract increasing sequence. Yes, but it is this is the wrong part because I say fast, but I stop, so you can see that there is a mistake. So the wrong part is when I say there is an increasing sequence is true. When I told you the reachability set is infinite, so it is infinite on this path. This is wrong. So what is true? I have an infinite non-decreasing sequence, but maybe all elements are equal. And the infinite part are in the other part, because there are also infinite paths. I take one. How can I be sure that it is a good one in which all elements will be different? So the subtlety is to make another tree and to say, I take the initial tree I told you, and I say, okay, now I will build a tree. I will build a tree in which there is no repetition on the path. Why? Because I can remove every circuit. There is no circuit in the path, but if from in on the path I go from state 2 to state 2, I can I don't do that. I stay in 2. You understand? So I built a new tree which has the very nice property that on every path all elements are different. And then with this, if I extract a non-decreasing sequence on a path which contains only different elements, then I can say that the sequence is strictly increasing. And then I have the pattern. So no exercise for this evening, I gave the solution. You make me speaking. So I must stop, I know. So I stop because, so I will present this tomorrow. I will continue tomorrow. I think it is better to make half of what is on the slide and that you are interested. Who was not interested? Difficult question. Who was not interested and courageous?
Whoever doesn't come tomorrow.
Yes.
I would prefer that we continue this.
I will show you tomorrow. I will show you this magical result. Just I show you one slide to attract your interest. I remove. I think it is at some place, but where? Because you remember the magical, yes, the second magical theorem is if an ordering is a well ordering, then every downward closed set has also a finite description. A little more complicated. It's not element, it's ideals, and ideals are directed set. This is a very interesting theorem which allows us to make new algorithms for a larger class than well-structured system. But I know that it is not good to cross the limit of 4 hours, so sorry to have crossed the given time, but also it's your fault, you ask question, and it's mine because I answer, so we are both culpable. So.
Let's thank Alan for that. Any questions? Slides. Can we make the slides available in case they want to?
Yes.
If you mail it to me, I can.
Yes. It will be done.
Maybe on my page and I'll send it.
Yes.
So in this proof of termination, you do not use that finite basis. You do not use that result. Every upward closes has a finite basis.
I don't use this characterization of well quasi-ordering, but I use strongly the equivalent characterization of well ordering is on a sequence, I can extract a subsequence. Or I can extract 2 elements. In fact, there are 7 equivalent characterizations. One is from an infinite sequence, I can extract 2 elements. The other, from an infinite sequence, I can extract an infinite increasing sequence. You can take this as an exercise. Because you cannot say, I take an infinite path, I take 2, and then I continue, I take 2, it doesn't work. So you have to find how to extract an infinite sequence from the hypothesis that you have the right to extract 2 elements. And you need something like the Ramsey theorem, but you don't need the real Ramsey theorem. But there is there is something to think. There is a little difficulty. Huh? The hypothesis is you extract 2 elements, and what I want to prove is you extract an infinite increasing sequence. So this characterization, the other characterization is every upward closed at a finite basis. The other characterization is it is without infinite antichain and well-founded. each. This is not a characterization because, as the remark, it is not a if and only if. If I have a WQO, then every downward closed set can be finitely represented. The converse is false, but I will show you tomorrow the converse because it is finite anti-chain. If an ordering is finite anti-chain, not if, an ordering is finite anti-chain, if and only if every downward closed set is finitely representable. And then you can have algorithm for a larger class of well-structured system. And you can have forward coverability algorithm instead of, I will show you tomorrow. So who will not come tomorrow? So, you know, the custom is when you don't answer, it means yes. Because who don't know come, who will not come tomorrow? If no people say yes, it means that every people say no, say that will come. So you are not liar. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You are 12. It is a parity test. 12, not better than the parity because I have the number 12.
Less than 12, I'll tell you tomorrow.
Yes, yes, please. So if you are interested, I am here in my office 3 to 5. Today, I think it's too late, but tomorrow and maybe Friday morning, you can send a mail. My mail is on the web. Alain Finkel, you will find the web.
So I'll put up, if you send me the slides, I'll send it to them. And
Okay.
I'll also send this paper from this
Yes, TCS.
TCS. I'll send a soft copy also.
You want I send you the paper or you know where?
I have.
Okay, okay. Okay. I have an internship to propose to good students, PhD, position, professor, what you want. Money, good subject. I will give the secret tomorrow only. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
A small gift from the department.
It's very kind.
A T-shirt and a.
Thank you very much. I know that in India sometimes, because I make a gift to a colleague, to the wife of a colleague, and in India it's not to show the gift. So she kept the gift. I was a little frustrated that she will not show to. So it's in remembering of this bad situation that I show you my gift. 1 million of rupees and a gift for 1 week of traveling in the Iceland, and you increase the weight of my luggage. And Indian Institute of Bangalore. I will keep it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I hope the size is okay.
I think you are optimistic because in general I prefer the 2XL, but we can change, or I have children who have not reached my size. Yes, I will try. For PhD students, I can offer a T-shirt. First gift.